Hello, 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 hello. Yes. Okay, great stuff. Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm Gaz Williams, and tonight's show. Sorry, a little bit of a bit of a false start. Blimey, streaming stuff. There's dilemmas all the time. Apparently, YouTube is different now. For streaming to YouTube, you have to do a new thing. So, oh well. Anyway, hope everybody is well, and I'm going to just be a little tiny bit distracted just as I'm getting my stream together. Okay, hey, we're good. Right. Oh, have a look. Yes, chat room, everybody's here. I'm so sorry. I started streaming. It went to Facebook and it started doing its normal thing, but it didn't go to YouTube. And that's because, as I say, got to do a thing called YouTube events now. I think there's a big change. It's just happened. I think it happened actually last week. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. Excuses. Hope everyone's well. Nice to see some of you who are in the Sonic State show earlier today. That was quite interesting. Big news being the Maschine, the Native Instruments Maschine Plus, the standalone machine. That is something that I am super interested in. I'm just going to go shut the window because I can hear traffic noise. Right. Hope all is well. Typical. Don't reach. That mission had nothing to do with going to get a beer. Oh. Right. Cable shenanigans. Here we go. Let's get back to where we were. Yeah, I've got like a weird noise gate setting. I'm a little bit far away from the mic, I'm afraid. I'll try and talk a little bit close into it. Okay, what am I up to tonight? Well, I did mention on Sonic State, so some of you may have had a preview who tuned in. Tonight, we are going to be talking about a little bit about MIDI foot control, because I think this is a glorious and often overlooked area of music technology. And this particular model in front it's been around for a while, from Roland, the FC-300. It's built like a tank. I swear, it's a heavy duty thing. This is something I would have absolutely no qualms about using in very rigorous professional situations. I've used a bunch of Roland stuff on the road, and it is, it's top class for that sort of thing. However, it is heavy, and it's not particularly cheap either. I think they still make it. It did come out at the same time as the V Guitar update that they made, and then thus it's got this Ethernet output, this RRC output, which is some sort of Roland proprietary chat sort of thing. Anyway, boring, blah, blah, blah. Let's get back up here. So the other thing then is I've got a couple of effects plugged in. Now, again, apologies for repeating myself for people who saw the Sonic State show earlier. This thing arrived today. I got it from Toman. It's a bass preamp, and they must have really failed in the marketplace, because they were selling them for £61, and I just couldn't resist it at £61. And now it's arrived. It's a heavy duty, proper pro piece of kit, bass preamp. But you know what? You could put anything through this, because you got two separate inputs. You've got passive input and active input. Now that'll take a hot line level. So since anything could go through it, and the EQ is very strong. There's no speaker modeling on here, so there isn't anything specifically bass kind of focused that's going to mess your sound up. I mean, the range of the EQs and where the shelf of the bass thing is going to be kind of geared around bass guitars, absolutely. However, the good thing about bass preamps, though, is that they typically run full range, from low to high. And those sweepable mids go from 30 hertz, so super low. That's amazing, being able to go so low with that. means you can cut below the shelf level and up to 300 hertz, and then from 200 hertz up to 2K. So that's pretty cool. Don't know what the shelf turns over at, but you also have got this enhance that you can flick in, which is controlled by here. Is a preset EQ. It's like a smiley face. Like mute switch, that enhance, and then FX loop. Now I'm not using the effects loop here. I'm just going straight out, and I'm going into the Volante from Strymon. Now that thing is a wonderful delay. I used some of it last week, if maybe some of you saw that. But the reason I've got this set up is the MIDI foot controller there is sending information to the Volante, and I thought I would just talk about my process really of how I've chosen which parameters of the Volante to map to the feet, because every function of the Volante is addressable over a CC control of MIDI, and as you can see on the Roland, you've got a couple of expression pedals that are built in. So some parameters which are good to have foot control of, and some are just switches. Now, this particular foot controller is pretty complicated. It's pretty complicated because it's designed to function in a load of different kind of scenarios. You've got like a master sort of mode that it works in. So if I was to go through those modes, like the standard mode, it's just sending program change out. Gives you a couple of control pedals as well that kind of stay through the patch changes. Or you can, at the moment, I've got it in like a control mode. So basically everything is sending out CC values. But also the kind of best mode on here is the patch mode, because every time you hit one of these pedals down here, you can send a whole bunch of MIDI messages. So you can kind of turn certain channels off. You can mute certain channels. You can activate certain things. I think you can have maybe stacks of 5 MIDI messages on single switches. So you can get quite nerdy when you go, into what the capabilities of something like this is. Because apart from the switches on here, you've also got another 3 inputs for expression pedals or additional switches. So you could have a whole load of extra stuff plugged into this. In fact, I've used it quite often with a couple of extra inputs. One that I can just move up and down. In fact, you can control the mode with a foot switch input. So if you can do that, it means you can switch it easily into the mode where you choose which patch you want to load in, switch it into then the CC controller mode. So, that kind of stuff is, you wonder when would you use that kind of thing. Well, I have used I've done some big shows which have had loads and loads of cues and loads of changes in, and I've used a lot of foot controller stuff from doing that sort of work, and it is complicated. You do have to do a lot of preparation and get it all set up to be predictable, and you can remember what everything does. Because slightly confusing thing on here, for instance, is 1 to 5 here is also, as you can see on the numbers, 6 to 10. So when I toggle with these switches, I'm basically toggling the layer of the bottom, so when it's on here, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So you do have to bear in mind whether the LED is there or there. But again, when you start to really rely on these as tools, and you kind of, practicing with them, and especially when you're doing big shows with lots of rehearsals, you become really kind of connected to this. This becomes like this is your communication to your rig, basically. And the facilities that something like this is, it's a bit like a mothership, really. It can control quite a lot. However, at the moment, I've just got a really simple setup. As I say, I've just got the MIDI out of that controlling the Strymon. Let's go back to this page. And let's actually get some notes. Let's see if we can hear things. Okay. Okay. A bit more. Let's get that a little bit louder. So we're hearing the module now. It's kind of punchy. What I've noticed is the gain isn't particularly nice when you start to clip it. See, so it starts. Yeah, we don't want that kind of clipping. So actually, you've got clipped lights on the input and handily on the output. This is a pro piece of kit, guys, for 61 quid. I don't care what instrument you play. I'm sure your studios could really benefit from something like that. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Sorry, don't mean to sound like a sort of big salesman on that. It's just, I do like a bargain, though. Okay, so, oh, bit of distortion there as well. Okay, a bit too hot there. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm going to take my mic out for a moment just so you hear the tone of this a bit without the mic influencing it. Do you know what? This preamp is really good. You know, that's really effective EQ. 61 quid. Anyway, sorry, I'm going to stop going on about that. That wasn't even meant to be there. I just only put that there because I realised I just could, and just to give an input signal into the Strymon to be a little bit thicker. Okay, right. Anyway, let's have a look then at the Volante, and we'll look at what some of the foot controls do to it, because it's really nice. Nice little bits and bobs you can do with this. Okay. Just one head. So the only thing I was varying there on the foot control was the amount of feedback. So I've only just got a single one. I've actually got the echo level ramped higher than my dry signal. I've been finding that quite interesting. I've typically avoided that in the past, but it gives it gives you different musical emphasis. being able to control the feedback amount. It's nice if you kind of get something like this. Whoa, there it goes. The familiar thing. These cameras. So that's just that using just that one control. It's quite nice. It's sort of the oops, sorry, the chaos of too much feedback, and then pulling it out. It's kind of interesting. The feedback is like a lot of the soul of rock and roll exists on the edge. And feedback at the edge is kind of, it's that danger zone of rock and roll. So having it on your foot, and just dipping out of the danger zone. Right, so anyway, let's see what else we've got going on here. Now, this pedal is just mapped to the repeat levels. So if I play a sound, no delay. In fact, if I bypass on here, I think it should just be analog drive pass through there. Feedback though. Wow, that sounds really distorted. Oh. There we go. I had the feedback cranked right up. Let's go here. Let's go here. So, yeah, so that's controlling the volume level. So, and then that's controlling feedback. It's quite nice. Now, I've got all of these mapped on both of these things here. So you kind of like learn, I can turn on the spring reverb here. Turn it off. Turn it on. Now, what I'm doing there is, when I switch it on, you can decide what the range of the switch is from one of the settings inside the Roland. So so you can choose when you turn it on how much, you know, of the 127 values, how much reverb do you want. So really, if you wanted to, you could actually map all of these switches to exactly the same MIDI channel, and they will just and every time set them to momentary. Every time you trigger them, they could just go to different wet levels of the same CC value. I haven't done that in this case though, because I needed all the switches, because there's a lot of stuff going on. Now, when I toggle these things here, 1 and 2, they stay consistent. So they're the same no matter what those settings are. So in this particular case, that's my kind of global tap tempo. So let's go. Get some more feedback on. And actually what this switch is doing, it's actually mimicking the exact same behavior as that switch. And why that is a long press on here will change the Strymon's mode into being the sound on sound mode. So it becomes like a looper. Yeah. Kind of a looper. Yeah. And then a bunch then of the mappings relate sort of to the way that the looper behaves. And this, I think, is really cool. I think I'll show you what this can do. So now I'm in the loop mode. What does the loop mode allow me to do? Well, when I'm in loop mode, this control now, instead of it being tap tempo, is essentially loop. This sets the loop start and loop end. Once you've done that, unlike other loopers, just ignore it, because next time you press that, it'll essentially delete the loop. So once you've got the loop running, it's kind of ready in overdub mode. Let's do it. Let me show you. So basically, if I was to go... just looping round. Now, it's actually not looping because over here, I've made this control. I can make the looper either be only one repeat or infinite repeats. So if I do this again on here, oops, I did that wrong. Let's do that again. Okay, let's just go really short. Because that's lit there now, that the green light, that's telling the Strymon just to let that keep going. But it's still in record. So everything goes down onto it. Yeah. But if I switch that now, a bit abrupt, but basically that got to the loop point and just it kind of just got, you know, it only played the last repeat. So that's kind of neat to be able to do that. Now I can do some other cool little tricks actually. So let's go, let me get this level a bit lower. In fact, let's take the delay out for a moment. Oh, why have I got delay on? I don't know why there should be delay there. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to tap that in then, so let's... So in order for me to tap, I need to come back out of this mode and just stick out the tap back in. Okay, great. Let's do that now. Great, okay. Okay, let's... so, I mean, in loop mode, like... So... 3 and coming out of record mode now. Now I've oh, of course I forgot. I know it is repeating. I forgot to put the let's do that again. Sorry about this. I've just mapped this the day before yesterday, so I'm just still getting my head around it. But I guess partly what I want to sort of do really is to kind of show that you can kind of get workflows. I mean, I'm just trying to get into this particular workflow, but I'm trying to, you know, you can program workflows into your feet. You know, get those blooming feet working for you. What normally happens in the studio? your feet normally just kind of lays around doing very little. Get your feet working, you know, don't let them off. Anyway. Okay, right, so where are we at? Okay, so if I put a loop in, let's pop another loop in. Okay. I've got the low cut on. The low cut is cranked right up on here. Let's just bring that back. That's why it sounds really, really poor. Hang on. But anyway, mapped on here then, I can flick the switch, which drops it to half the speed. Back to the normal speed, or up an octave. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find a way to. I haven't found a way to be able to go into between stages. But what you can do, which is pretty cool, is you can use the pause button, but when it pauses it slows the tapes down. So I've mapped pause here, so I can just pause it, carry it on. But if I keep the button pressed down, this one, look what happens. Then let it go. Now you can control the rate of this. There. It's nice if you've got loads of stuff going on. Let me just overdub onto this. Actually, if I go down, let's go down. I have to try and play to it. Okay. Oh. That even record? Oh, it did. There it is. Well, let's put that back to the middle speed. Oh, I missed. Missed one off. Also, I can run it backwards. And if I overdub onto this now. And just reverse it back. So it's quite nice how you can record at the different speeds and forward and backwards. Other things have done this before. It's not like completely original. Sounds pretty cool though. Right. So what else? I have mapped more things. Not a lot more. We're nearly at the end of the mapping, you'll be pleased to know. Yeah, so there is a bit of sock chat going on. I'm sorry, I put socks on deliberately because my feet have caused offence in the past. I think they are probably a little bit too well, my feet, I have actually got very flexible feet. I can bring my toes back. I can do all sorts of independent toe manipulations. So anyway, they're socked off and out of bounds to prevent any further embarrassment or upset. And I have had quite a few complaints. Even if my feet glimpse for like a second, ugly ass feet, or some comment like that will spring up. So I apologise for the feet. But anyway, it is essential viewing though for the foot operation. But yeah, anyway, getting back, let me finish the mapping. I've nearly gone through. So in this mode here, I can go play tape normal, play it an octave lower, play it an octave higher. So that's pretty cool. And then I can't remember what everything does now. The 5, that is the pause that I can slow things down, and then 4 is my reverse. 4 on here is reverb. 5's quite cool. It means I can take the dry signal, 10 rather. I can take the dry out entirely. So let's just get some sound up. Okay, so I should only have. Oh yeah, let's try turning the echoes up now. Oh my goodness, what's going on in there? Okay, there we go. Okay. So if I douse that in reverb, even actually take the delays out. So in DSP land, obviously the Volante being a digital pedal, DSP, in the grand DSP battles, the spring emulation is like a really kind of critical thing. People are quite fussy when it comes to spring emulations, and I'm not surprised because springs are magical. I love a spring reverb. I think there's so much magic and mystery hiding in there. You know, I've got a Vermona Retroverb spring reverb that I really enjoy, but I've used loads of spring reverbs over the years, and there's just a sense of something real in the sound of a spring. It's like, it's not that it's a real space, like it's trying to do that. I mean, in many ways, the sound of a spring for emulating real space only does a partial job. But it's a vibe of its own. It's pretty cool. This isn't bad. I've got it set quite long at the moment. Just shorten it. So that's. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But anyway, that was what we could do with that though. That let me kill dry. That's something that you can't do from the pedal itself. So that it has to be mapped to MIDI if you want that as a switchable feature. As a bunch of these things are actually. Some are replicating the switches and some are doing things. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the mapping that I've done. So what I probably should do is play a little bit more and do some of the things where I start using the foot switches to vary some of the settings as well. Always practice safe socks. Very good. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, nice. Yeah. So they're pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's kind of and there's quite a few things you can do with the pedal itself. You know, if I had the pedal on the floor, you know, the tap control and well, all of the controls have long press functionalities on them. So, but really, the kind of creative potential that something like this floorboard offers is yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool because my hands are kind of tied up playing the instrument, so having that foot control. Now, I've set this foot controller up to control a whole bunch of things over the years. They're particularly good for controlling electron devices because electron devices have really good MIDI implementation. I think of all the mainstream manufacturers, well, if indeed Electron are mainstream, but of all of the mainstream manufacturers, I think that Electron just go the extra mile to make sure that their MIDI capabilities are just incredibly thorough. So using the patch mode on here, I can address multiple Electron devices, changing, sending specific patch change to 3 different devices on different patch numbers. Because like when you program this, you can set each of the message to go to a different MIDI channel. It's kind of cool sort of stuff. I have no idea if this is like the most boring ever, but this is my world. This is what I've been doing quite a bit of. And over the years, as I say, it's something that I've done a lot of. And typically I will label things up quite a lot. Or even use a Sharpie. You can get it off eventually. But this thing, as I say, this Roland thing is built for action, It really is the most solid piece of kit I think I've got of all of my kit. As I kick it around, let's try to get more in a shot. Yeah, these expression pedals as well. They've got a little pressure pad, so if you push it at the thing there, you can engage, and that is a MIDI message. That little light that just lit up then, that's a little MIDI message, so you can have it so it's not doing anything until you engage, and then it'll do it. Or you can have it, I think you can have it so it swaps. It swaps what it's doing. I might be wrong about that. Yeah. Well, how are we doing? We're doing good, actually. This is great. Hope everybody's well. I'm going to come back to this camera a moment. So yeah, like the big music technology news about Native Instruments releasing Maschine as a standalone. Now, here is a Maschine Mark III with wood end cheeks from synths and wood, of course. Over the years, I've had machines now for about 8 years or so, and over the years, the software has developed pretty agonizingly slow, it has to be said at times, because there were, I think, some serious flaws in the original Maschine workflow that really prevent it from being the device that you can finish tunes on. You can do patterns and get things up and running on it super quick, and it's really good. I use it often as an accompaniment thing within Cubase, usually, sometimes with Ableton Live, and well, it's just great as like a drum machine, for instance, inside of Cubase. But that's kind of underutilizing it. But when you do standalone work with it, it's quite joyful up until you start getting into the desire to arrange things up a little bit, and then it becomes really frustrating. It's that there's a bunch of things about it that just they kind of if you used to work in, maybe say with Cubase, and you want to just grab a pattern and just sort of move it over there, or just grab a pattern and just offset it by half a bar or whatever it is. And like these patterns are all these kind of rigid things, and you can't slide them around or split them. And it just kind of, essentially what they tried to do with the original thing was to build something that worked ostensibly like an MPC with a kind of quite a clear defined boundary of what it can actually do. And which is kind of fine, but when you kind of get into it and you start doing stuff, then you just go, oh, if only I could do that. Now, so with an upcoming update, now I don't know if it's going to move to Maschine 3.0. It's been a long time on Maschine 2. It's been about, God, has it been like, that might be close. That's probably about 6 years now, maybe Maschine 2's been out. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with Maschine 3.0. That might be something that comes out. But certainly the Maschine Plus, which is coming out on 1st of October, I think they're going to be shipping them. There will be this new software update for Maschine called with clips, where you can drag things around. How that works in hardware, I'm super interested. I know apparently there's a lot of videos of it. I've slept on that a little bit. So I'll need to look into that. Yeah. Just kind of funny things in the chat room. So I think if you've not really looked into Maschine, I think this new update will probably be a good time to take an interest in it, because I think a lot of the development that's gone into it has actually been really brilliant for a whole bunch of other reasons. The way that automation is pretty fluid, really, and there's a lot to be said for it, actually. To be fair, they've got a lot of things right with it. So once they get this arrangement aspect working, and as I say, fingers crossed, it's going to do what it needs to do. Then and the standalone one especially, is that the kind of holy grail we've all been looking for? That one box that we can plug all our hardware into that's not the computer. You know, the MC707 is good. The MPC Live is really good too, and the MPC-X, of course, standalone. The Deluge, very, great. The Octatrack as well, great, although that doesn't really, becomes a sort of different thing. But this idea of being able just to record, limitless recording, SD card or storage, attached storage being the limit, amazing. I mean, if you've seen Nick and mine MC707 review, we heavily slate the lack of recording, the amount of time you can record in real time into it, 62 seconds or something. My goodness, that's the deal breaker for the 707 for fulfilling that role. I mean, this is what I think a lot of people would want, is some device that they can build songs on. They're doing something with their modular, they're doing something with their synths, or doing something with their effects, and they can just grab it and then like play it back like a loop, but then also go in, snip, chop, arrange, build without turning a computer on. So the Maschine standalone could be the thing. I think it's got a great workflow now with in a lot of the functionality of it. So those are my musings on that, because I do think that it's a decent price. I think what's it, 1,100 UK pounds. It's like, ooh, that's, I mean, obviously it's not cheap, but it's also affordable for standalone. Yeah. Oh, Dara didn't buy the 707 because of our review. Wow. See, I mean, that's interesting. I still think the 707 is a superb piece of kit. But I mean, you know, one of the things that we loved about the 707 was how deep the synths are. But I mean, if you're talking deep synths, I mean, some of the synths that run on Maschine, on Massive, for instance, comes pre-installed. Monarch, loads. There's quite a lot of stuff that I mean, there's going to be a lot of question marks about will it run third-party VSTs and how much hoof really is under the hood there. I mean, I do think it's a quad-core processor, 4 gig of RAM, so you know, it's not going to be great at massive multi-sample things if people want some sort of host for a big orchestral kind of vibe or something. I don't think it's the tool for that, although I don't think it was meant to be either. I mean, kind of interesting. Wagyu did buy a 707 based on the review. I like that. That's cool. That's good. That yeah, I like that. It's but Nick was particularly taken with the 707. He said that he found he could get up and running making music faster on that than he had on any similar device that he could think of. So yeah, 707 is good. It's definitely got the most Ableton Live like approach. But Maschine though does and has had a Ableton-y sort of vibe coming into it. When they launched the Maschine Jam, you know, it was much more like a kind of launchpad approach to things. Yes, time. Let's do some music. Sorry, I'm going to sign off. This has been a hellishly dull show tonight. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I don't know. I hope you've enjoyed it in some respects. But I'm going to try and do something now musically, and let's see where we go with it. I'll probably be saying goodbye on the other end of this. Got lots to catch up with in the messages. Okay. So let's. I know what I'm gonna do. I've been having a lot of fun. Now this Volante. Let's get my cameras. Where are we doing? This one, the Volante. I'm going to do a full review of that. Oops, my settings. Why are they showing? I'm going to do a full review of that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. So I'm not going to talk about that particularly, but I've got it set up in the most simple way with just a single, only one head engaged. And then, so I'm getting, let's pull that level back a bit. Okay. I'm going to have to lose myself in this now. I've been having a lot of fun with the basic of delay, the most basic of delay. So I'm just going to try, in fact, what did I have here? The capo. Now, you don't see a lot of people using capos on basses, and it's kind of it's actually really cool. I've used capos for lots of things, purposes. With some of my MIDI based stuff, when I'm doing with the Roland stuff, which is pitched to MIDI, I'll sometimes just use the capo just to stop me going down here where the latency starts to get quite laggy. So it just acts as a kind of no-go, just as a sort of out of bounds, rather than using it for a typical capo purpose. But in this case, though, I am going to use it as a capo. I'm going to do it so. Let's take the delay out for a moment. So I've got, this is in G now, as opposed to the E. So that's our lowest note. Right, let me just find a plectrum. on there. Oh, you're in Oz at the moment. So glad to get to the show. Oh, nice. God, what time is it in Oz at the moment? Oh, sorry, 6 a.m. Okay, wow. Right, I've got to just get my mojo working on this. So bear with me a moment, folks, because I've been getting lost in this, but I just need to find my way back into it. So as I say, I'm just using a single repeat. Okay, and I've got to tune into that repeat now. Just press this button. Oh, I'm starting to get there. I'm starting to get there. It's like, I'm sure everybody can relate to this, you know, because when you're kind of losing yourself in music gear, which is what you should all do. I mean, yes, I'm watching here for the moment, but please, you know, get lost in your equipment. Sorry, not get lost, but get lost in your equipment and just shred, noodle, just wallow. I mean, one of the nice things playing solo, which is something I've had to do a lot of lately, as we all have, delays become almost like someone to jam with. You know, I'm not going to go there. But yeah, have fun with your gear. I've been really enjoying doing these things with this delay. As I said, I just mapped the controller, so definitely going to explore things more. But my plan is actually with the foot controller, because of, as I mentioned earlier, like certainly in the patch mode, I can control lots of different pieces of kit. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to be modding it to be able to control the Source Audio Ventris and the Eventide H9 and another pedal that I shall not mention for the moment. Being able to create custom sounds. I've tried to do this numerous times over the years, and it's really hard if you're trying to use individual devices and do program change where it goes to those different devices and pulls particular presets up. Just maintaining that is really tricky. I mean, if it's on your pedal board and you know you're going to be committed to it, then that can kind of help, but it is tricky. But anyway, I'm going to sign off. Thank you ever so much, everybody, for joining in. It's lovely to see a nice chat room again with lots of activity there. Really appreciate that. Get a MIDI foot controller if you haven't got one already. You know, even if you know, whatever instrument you play, even if you don't play any instrument at all and are operating the computer with your keyboard and mouse, you can still do cool things with your feet. One device that I haven't got, I would really like to get one, is a Nectar. Nectar, the company, make various controller keyboards. They make a foot controller called the Pace, and that looks actually really super. Doesn't have any built-in expression pedals, but you can plug them in externally. But the key thing is it's got a load of preset functionality for DAW control, so essentially transport controls, play, stop, record, fast forward, you know, loop, various controls like that, which is great for instrumentalists like myself, or, you know, if you're playing keys, or if your keyboards and synths are a reach away from the computer. Just having a foot control is actually well worth looking into. Anyway, thanks everybody. Oh god, I just wanted, I mean, it's all cool. We got a big gang here. Keith Macmillan foot controllers, very good point. I have dabbled with them. They are really, really good. They've got a lot of programmability, much more in than the Roland in a way. But if I'm absolutely honest, like live, and especially on the road, whenever that'll happen, but especially when you're on the road and you're stomping on things, I just don't know that the Keith Macmillan stuff is quite roadworthy. I think it's great studio stuff and for jams and a few things, but for night after night on the, you know, kind of with the rigors of live, you know, that's where this thing kind of is amazing. I mean, it really is a solid, heavy piece of kit. But yeah, but Keith Macmillan stuff is super cool though. So yeah, I mean, definitely look at that stuff as well. Right, okay, time. I stopped. Thanks ever so much for everyone for joining. I've been Gaz Williams, and this is the Gaz Williams Show. There are guests. I've got some amazing. I keep saying this. I don't know. Well, you've seen we have had amazing guests, to be fair, and I've got more amazing guests coming up. So definitely stay tuned. I think do you know what? I'm going to play a little bit more, and then I'll finish by playing. I want to play more, and I want to get into my kind of zone. You know, that zone of. I know what to do. I change the mode and I just go into standard mode. This is going to send program change. So I reckon if we look on there, oh yeah, look at that. You see, so you can see the Strymon responding, and those are probably some of the factory presets. Ooh. This has got more heads engaged. The bit that got away. Okay. You bought the preamp, Harry. I'm so sorry. I mean, God. So, folks, look. I'm just going to show you one more time. Look at this. This blooming preamp. £61 or £8 of postage. £69 is probably what you've done. Look at that. It's ridiculous. It is very, very good. But I mean, it's the Strymon really that we've been listening to. No, but it's good. The thing is good. It is a useful tool for all purposes. Well, not all purposes, but some. Right. Okay, folks. Thank you so much. I'm going to just kind of give myself a little wave, and I am going to press this button here. Bye-bye.